War. War never changes. Hey everybody, Slash 2X. Got the next starter tips training video for y'all. Uh, we're going to be going over the power play update, which is primarily focused on war. There is a little bit of commercial stuff you can do with it, but there's a lot of going in and breaking other people's stuff and stealing things. So they call it the power play update. I like to think it was the war update because what they've done is created little wars within the factions. We are going to be going from left to right here. We're going to go ahead and go to the Galnet first. I love Galnet. This is a great way of finding out what's going on out in the world. This tells you about community events, if there's any popping up. You can see the little photos that kind of show you who it's associated with, and then you can go read information about it. This goes way back into things that are just all the way back into other areas. Things that are related to your power in some way or another. Not necessarily that they're the primary, but maybe they're like secondary related to something. Have that little marker you just saw. Get used to seeing this marker. This marker is what you need to do for your power in some way, shape, or form. So as you can see, there's some different items here for the particular one I've allied myself with. Pledged myself to, if you will. As you can see, they talk about my particular guy here. All that fun stuff. This is just great information to kind of keep track of. Pop in every once in a while, see what you find, see what's going on. It'll give you markers for the map. You can actually look for some of the different locations if they have multiples in it. So just kind of good info in general. We're going to go ahead and go over here to the standings. This shows the current order of who is ranked for what. So you can see the different people have the different rankings in regards to the different strength levels that they have. If you click on somebody, you can see if their rank has changed even. So their ranking has not changed. Typically, you're not going to see a ranking shift until the end of the week. It takes a week for any of these items to occur. This isn't something that just immediately happens. So you will see that there is those shifts at the end of the week. We'll get into that a little bit more later. So that's the basics you get from that screen. And that's also where you're going to look at your powers to pick one that you want to ally yourself with. Now, over here on the right, if you've already allied yourself, you get to see their information. As you can see, it's the same info if I were to come in from here. It's literally the same data. The difference is since I've allied myself with them, I don't have to go dig around through that one extra layer if I don't want to. Not really, a big deal one way or the other. Just kind of one of those gee whiz sort of things, make your life a little simpler. As you can see, it gives you a little bit of information as to who it is, a little bit of their details, their current standing, their total capital that they have available for command, so command capital, their income from exploited systems, and the upkeep for the controlled systems. So obviously you want to make sure that these things balance out so that you have a positive over here. If you start losing on your side, then you're going to start losing systems and you're going to start losing ranking. So that's one of those things to keep it track of and try to keep yourself in the positive. Over here on the right, you can see we have the ethos, the different ways that they take over things. So this particular guy, I like him. He's a little bit of a balance. Nothing crazy. He still leans pretty heavy into combat, which is my preferred method. But in order to get into preparation, you need to take items from a control location to a preparation location. We'll get into that a little bit more later. So we have expansion. So we'll get into this a little bit more later, but basically you go and you fight to overthrow things. Control, again, fighting to keep control. So that's just a brief overview of this initial screen. So let's go to our rating. This is your personal rating. Everything back here, this is overall for everything in the power. This is your personal rating. I've only got 30 merits. I haven't really been able to find good combat where I'm at. I'm probably going to have to shift to a different location to kind of get into some of the heavier combat sections. You can earn pretty quickly a decent amount of merits from just simply blowing up enemy ships. On average, it's about 15 per ship you blow up. Or if you're stealing their cargo, you can steal their cargo and drop it off. That's if they are carrying a particular cargo type you need for your area. We'll cover that a little bit more later. So as you can see, I've got 30 merits right now. I had more in the beta, but obviously didn't carry over. You can see I've been pledged to this guy for 4 days. They give you your different ratings. So when I hit 100, this will unlock for me. Now keep in mind, you're not going to just hit 100, then you unlock it. You have to wait till the end of the next week. So once I hit 100 next week, I can roll into this second rating. Obviously, later on, I'm going to build this up a little bit more and get to that second rating because I want to hurry up and get that. 750 is probably going to be about another week out before I get that. And you can see the different items in here. This right here is one of the reasons I wanted to go with this guy, that advanced accelerator, a specialist plasma weapon. I'm quite stoked about that. I could never get one in the beta, but I heard some people did, but it was like pulling teeth to get to it. But I intend to get to that as quickly as I can. And then they explain some of the other items down here that you get. As you can see, these bonuses add up quick. I mean, heck, look at rank 4. 5 million just for staying at rank 4. And 50 if you make it to rank 5. So that's a pretty ridiculous shift. That and this wonderful 90% reduction in munitions costs. So you get this awesome plasma accelerator, and then it costs you almost nothing for the ammo. So good stuff with him. Like I said, pretty combat heavy. Preparation. Alright, so you'll have all these different items over here. You'll notice it changes. The overview tells you what you need to do in order to prepare a system for an invasion. So, that said, for preparation, I would take marked military arms from a control system and deliver them to our... It says contacts over here. They should have scrolled the text. I think this is more of a typo type issue. But I take it to control for contact in another system. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to take a quick peek at that. I'm going to have to exit out of this in order to show you. So here's our overview for the power play. You can see all the different areas and all the different colors marked in. As you can see, there's a little bit of Empire self-struggling in here, where our different sub-factions of Empire are starting to fight each other. We need to knock that off. We need to stop fighting each other and start fighting the Alliance and the Federation, but that's a whole nother topic for a different day. So, in the meantime, let's look around this little area right here. So, let's say I wanted to look for expansion. I'm going to come over here. I click on expansion. This now shows me all the different areas around here, the different items that I could go to and where I could expand. So, all these green dots right here, if we look down here, these are high profit systems. Medium's orange, red is low, and the grayish white is loss. So as you can see, if I were to go to this area, it even gives you a little income. I'm going to try to make it a little easier to read. Let me zoom in a little more. There we are. Now there's not so much background on it. So as you can see, it's 116 would be the income, upkeep of 35, giving us this balance of 81 CC. So you get that command capital of 81 plus should we take this over. So what I would do is I would go from where I'm currently at. I'll go ahead and exit all the way out so I can show you. So I come in here to my contacts. I'm in a control system right now. I go to the power contacts right here. I would collect these marked military arms. You can only collect a certain number at a time based upon your rank. So at my current rank, I can only get 10 at a pop. So once I collect these, what ends up happening is I have to get them delivered to one of the potential expansion systems as quickly as possible because they do expire. Once you collect this stuff, it does expire. And then I go to a contact at the new location I've arrived at, and I drop this stuff off, which means that it now adds towards their goal for potentially being expanded into, and it also adds into my merits. This is where I get my merits from. I have found NPCs do attempt to attack you while you're carrying this stuff, usually about the last couple of jumps in. So if you have like 6 jumps away, about jump 4 or 5, you're going to have an NPC pop out and be like, haha, I found you! And they try to take your cargo. Last one I had was a drop ship. He lasted about 35 seconds. I thumped him with a plasma and that was that. So that does kind of give you a little bit of that overview for that. So again, I'm going to go back in my galactic power so we can keep going over the good info. So that's your preparation. That's us getting ready. So as you can see, these are systems now that have already started that process. Now, you have to look at your overall command capital for your faction. So this only has 610 available. These systems right here are the most prepared. We are going to spend all of our command capital on these little set right here. What that means is all these ones in the red, not converting this week. Not going to happen. If they're still around next week, we could obviously potentially get them converted next week, but there may be new ones by then. But we only have so much to spend, so we're literally going to get 1 through 4 this week. So if you click on one of these, it tells you about what's going on. If you have some sort of investment into it, you can do a nomination and help kind of push it along, where basically everyone within the faction starts nominating locations. So, as you can see, these are the ones that people have voted in the most. I haven't actually been to these. I haven't dropped anything off, so I don't have enough to really push a nomination through. All right. So, that covers everything for the preparation side. Expansion. These are systems that have made it past this step. So, it's literally going from left to right with what you're going to be doing here. So, now we're inside of expansion. These systems have pushed through. Obviously, it hasn't actually been a week, but they kind of pre-started us with some. So what you would do is you do whatever they say to expand. So for him, again, read what the description says. For him, I would go to the system that they're planning on taking over, and I destroy system resistance forces at military strike locations. It's missing that over here. Again, they need to fix their text wrap. They need to have it wrap right here after the at. Anyway, so military strike locations. It's just like your combat zones. You've already seen the combat zones and locations potentially. It's the same concept, except for when you drop in, you automatically ally to your person's faction. And then you just start attacking the other faction. Again, you earn merit points every single time you attack somebody. So, as you can see with this guy, people love doing that. Like I said, he's combat heavy. They're 2,809% over what they need for this area. Same with this one. It's pretty high up there. And that one's not as high, but it's still freaking high. So people are just going in here and wrecking stuff to move on. So this gets you a chance to go and work with a bunch of other players, as a side note. If I go here, I'm willing to bet there's a couple of players already right now blowing stuff up in there who work in my faction as well, so they're not going to attack me. They're too busy attacking the enemies. They're like, hey, it's a friend. We need to help them. So it's good stuff to be able to go and do some of those. I did that in the beta, and it was a lot of fun. So that's pretty straightforward for his expansion. There's others where you have to move stuff around and things like that. So control. Control is where things start to get a little tricky. So you have a couple of things that you can do with control. One, you have fortification. So you need to keep from losing your control locations. As you can see, this guy's pretty heavily attacked. People are trying to cause a lot of trouble for us. So what you do is you collect garrison supplies from his main location, and then you deliver them to these locations. That's one way of doing it. Another is to interrupt the enemy supplies, steal them, and then bring them into your own control location to help rebolster your stuff instead of theirs. So as you can see, these locations kind of taking a heavy hit. There's some other ones that it's the opposite, where we're coming out way ahead. So you can kind of tell where the players are. There's a bunch of back and forth that's going on at this location. There's probably a heck of a lot of fighting happening there. We're a little behind on that one. So as you can see, there's going to be some back and forth. We're probably going to lose a couple of these locations and have to try to reacquire them at a later week. From what I've seen, attacking is significantly easier than protecting, like many game types. So that kind of gives you a little bit of overview of what's going on here, what you need to look at with your factions. All that boils down to this, though: getting your rating up and getting these bonuses. And these bonuses have a lot more application at locations your faction controls. So that kind of goes back to the map. So these are locations that my faction's controlling, And going to these locations, I get wonderful bonuses, and there's things I can do, and I can engage in different kinds of PvP and combat. While you're out and about doing things, if you see someone who's from a different faction, you have the free reign to attack them if you're inside your own area. You can go to their areas and blow up their ships. It gives you a lot more options in the game. So that's just some of the basics for how the Power Play update works and what it means to you as a person. I am going to go ahead and take just a moment. We're going to pause and come back, and I'm going to actually be showing you a person or player or NPC, something that I can attack because it's from an enemy faction. You can see, hey, it doesn't even have to be wanted. I can just straight attack it because it exists. So we'll be right back. Alright folks, we've found ourselves a nice little target over here. As you can see, they work for an opposing faction, which means to us, they are a problem. So, if you look over there, it's the Kumo Crew Watch. They're elite. It says they're an enemy. You notice not wanted, enemy. And they work for Archon Delaney. So, they are a problem for us. So, I'm going to try to speed up a little bit. Hopefully we can catch them. I am a little close to the planet, I believe, still. I don't see it anymore. So, hopefully I can slide back into range and catch them before they make it away. As you can see, people are up here complaining and talking about different things that they... Freedom! Rise up, unite! So, we're in danger of having a revolution on our hands here. Just because it is a contested system at the moment. It's one of those systems that if we're not playing our cards right here in the next week or so, we could end up behind. Here we are. So I'm starting to catch up a little bit. I may end up having to snag them at... Oh, got him. Alrighty. So let's see if we can catch him. Ease back a little bit. I'm going to try to also drop my speed. I like to call it the tack yourself in place method. So I'm dropping as much speed as I can, so theoretically when I do drop out of warp, I don't end up screwing up myself. Ooh, graphical glitches. So they say hull integrity compromised, but it didn't really screw me up. Alrighty. So I don't even need to bother with a scan or anything. We're just going to go straight to breaking you. So they are trying to bring things. They're trying to bring things in that we don't want them to bring in. If I can, I want to see if I can pop that cargo hatch. See if I can get some of that delicious loot to fall out. I had a cargo scanner, I thought, but apparently not. They're an elite, though, so... So they're hurting pretty bad right now. I will go ahead... Oh, no, I won't. I'm not getting anything out. I'm just going to pop you. And there he goes.
Target destroyed.
I technically got a claim for a bounty on him because he fought back and he wasn't allowed to legally in this area. So, yeah. He actually got a bounty for attacking me back when I started the fight. That's the nature of power play. That's the nature of what you're going to be dealing with when it comes to enemies and people who are wanted. I'm going to try to see if I can find somebody with some cargo. So we're going to do one more cut, and then I'm going to hopefully show you some cargo leaking out of a good ship. Alright folks, I have been up and down this map. I cannot find anything that is carrying goods I can pick up. Ordinarily you can find something, but for some reason I'm not. I'm also not seeing any players either. I think all the people are playing in solo mode, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, I just wanted to show you what the canisters are. I mean, it's not really that it matters, but as you did see before, they are marked as enemies. If you can pop that cargo hatch, see what they're carrying, see if you can get some of those goods to turn in yourself and help your own faction a little more. But that is the primary stuff for power play. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you had any additional suggestions as far as, you know, additional training videos or anything like that. Feel free to like the video if you like it and subscribe if you want to see more. There will be more Elite coming in the upcoming days, and you'll probably see me move pretty heavily into some different faction attacks. So in the meantime, there's a Sidewinder I gotta go scan, so fly safe.